I'm gonna do the state of the Cummunion, and spelt a very suggestive way. The state of the communion.
Just ain't shit, man.
I just came up with that in my head right now.
I can't wait to kill off these dudes' hope, man.
Welcome to episode 25 of the Migtown podcast, your only weekly source for failed ghetto gagger promises. As always, I'm producer Tim. Joining me is Drexel. Say hi.
What's up to everybody out there? We got something special today. We are in a tipping point, as we know, in society with the relationships between men and women. And last week we addressed the State of the Union for the males. This week, as apropos, we are addressing the State of the Union for the females. And I want to do something special and invite in the guests who are part of my Discord server to come in and share their experiences and viewpoints on both relationship statuses of the men and women in their areas and the state of the women in their areas. You know, are they feminist minded? Are they crazy? Are they on meds? Are they, I'm strong and independent woman? What is their mindset? Are they traditional? Whatever their mindset may be. And I wanted to give you guys, the people, a way to really kind of open up and say what's going on in your neck of the woods. So without further ado, we're going to go with our very first guest.
Hello there, everyone.
First off, what do you want to call yourself?
You can call me SF. That's what I go by usually.
SF.
Yeah.
Like San Francisco.
Yeah.
No, not San Francisco, fortunately.
Mr. San Francisco, welcome to the show.
Oh, goodness.
All right, yeah. Drex.
So yeah, tell us where you're at and in your neck of the woods, because I want to get an accurate depiction of the women and the state of women by having people from all over. And if I recall, you are in a place that I have not visited yet. You can let everybody know where you're at. You can just say country because they won't know who the hell you are.
Yeah, I'm in China, central China, the mainland. I am I'm 27. I'm about to be 27, so that's my age range. Give you a better idea of the kind of women I deal with here.
You guys have a saying in China. For all my Replicant Fish fans, subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Shameless shill. Replicant Fish has done videos about China in which women over the age of 27 are called, I think it's like Shemwu or something. It's a name they have referring to the leftover women. Have you ever heard that term?
Yeah, there's actually most major parks in major cities have a section, the section of parks where elderly folks will go out, show pictures of their children, whether it be a man or a woman, and information about them, their height, their weight, how much money they make, if they have a car, etc., trying to arrange marriages. In my opinion, a lot of that stems from, so there's a big push. Don't develop social skills. Don't socialize in your youth. And then once you hit 30 and you finish grad school and you have a good job, they're freaking out about not having grandkids. So it's an issue like that. It's the elderly folks that cause that problem, in my opinion.
Not see the cognitive dissonance, right?
Yeah.
That's completely ass backwards. Like, wouldn't you think to yourself, like, hey, man, we want to make sure that these kids are well balanced and adjusted so that as they are coming up through school and all that, they're going to be well-rounded enough and socially apt enough to attract and retain a mate. You would think they would think that, but I guess not.
Well, it's an issue of when anything is centralized, you can only focus on one thing at a time. That's why 4-year plans, things like that, you need to be able to think broadly about issues, and that's something that some nations struggle with. You can only focus on one issue at a time. But this most recent generation of Chinese people, I mostly work with high schoolers and people in trade schools here. And I just noticed they're quite a bit different. Even the university students I see, they're quite a bit different than the university students I met when I was a student here just 6 years ago.
So what changed? What do you think is the biggest difference?
The government's getting better at, I think it's getting better at teaching them the value of family, the value of having those kind of conservative values, something that was really lacking with the previous generation.
Well, I saw you guys just pushed this big thing with wanting the military to be more masculine and kicking feminism off of social media because they need to get the birth rate up, right? What have you seen about that? How people are reacting to that?
That's actually an issue right now that's going to be affecting. There's people in China. There's many foreign people who are, the word for it here is gualawai. Those are people who are losers at home and they come here for jobs because they can't succeed at home. And China's push for that sort of, to end that sort of thing is coming through their, they're wanting to stop, for example, training schools. They're wanting to stop the amount of time you can send your kids to training schools certain hours because that competitive nature and needing all that money to make your kids competitive is putting a strain on families.
They're the low hanging fruit, right? And I'm
Yeah.
assuming it must be known to the Chinese men that to go ahead and get the low hanging fruit if they just wanted sexual relations, they could go get with married Chinese women and then keep it moving, right? It was kind of is that kind of how the hookup culture is, or are the single women also within the hookup culture in China?
Well, like I mentioned, you'll find at parks all over people wanting to get their children married. A lot of marriages here aren't even, there's not a sexual aspect to it. It's just what I've seen. They actually, I think it's green hat is the word for it. That's in America they call them cucks. Here they call them green hats.
Damn. So what the hell is a green hat dude? Is he just the Chinese version of a cuck? Like he just pays all the bills and no sex,
Yeah,
no nothing?
essen- essentially.
So is that going to make the guys turn away from marriage then? Because that sounds like a shitty deal, right?
It's not, at least from what I've seen, it's not as prevalent. It's not like the media is pushing it like in the West. In the West, the
Damn,
media wants you to do that sort of shit. The West media wants you to get pegged. In China, they clamp down on that shit hard.
damn. And are the women buying into like feminism in China? Because I know that like I said, they put a kibosh on the whole thing on the internet with social media and feminism. Are the women there? Do you
Well,
feel that they're more like feminist minded?
well, China, the situation, the dynamic between men and women reminds me of what you would see in a movie about men and women, the situation in the 50s in America. This really is a man's world.
Well, we'll let you out of here with this. If as you are coming up out there, what percentage of those women in China do you believe are like marriage material for what a man wants in his wife, right? Submissive, young, fertile, attractive, all those kind of qualities. What would you say is the percentage of women out there that are marriage material in China?
Well, things that you or I might consider marriage material may not necessarily be what someone here would, because family, family, clanal living like that plays a bigger role. Sometimes it's more important what your family wants than what you want out of the relationship.
Mm.
So it's not as cut and dry. I would say, for me personally, what I would look for, maybe 30%.
That's a shocking improvement over the States, man. Shocking improvement.
Did you want me to read your email while you're here too before we get you going?
Oh, damn. You got an email.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I definitely would like to send it over to my friend the advice you give. I don't know how to help him.
So I'll just quickly run through the email here. About as quick as Drex runs through the average woman. So our San Fran friend here, SF,
Oh my
has
Christ.
a friend who is 19 years old and recently started university and got out of a 6-year relationship that he's struggling to get over. Young, good family life kind of guy. And the only advice he received from his father is make mistakes for yourself, and that's the only way you'll learn anything. But this guy just can't seem to get over it. He's constantly bitching and complaining. And that's being coupled with the new liberal shit they're pushing at university now. Now, is this university in China or somewhere else?
Oh no, he's in Arizona. I'm from the United States. I'm not Chinese.
I kind of guessed that, but didn't want to assume. Anyways, so okay, yeah. So he's going to school in the States.
I think this is a good thing. I believe that you're looking at somebody who is going to Arizona, and Arizona, it doesn't matter what school, especially ASU has the highest rate of turbo thoughts of any school, probably in the entire nation.
Well, that's what ended the relationship.
Most
so according
likely.
to SF, the reason the relationship ended is she wanted to go turbo thought it out, and he put his foot down and said, nah, ho, we ain't doing any of that. And
Of
she's
course.
like, all right, fine. Door.
Yeah, she's gonna live her best life, getting skeeted on, skeeted in, the whole works, and trains run on her. I know what goes on at these schools, man. So here's what I would tell your friend. It's a two-sided thing. In one hand, I want him to observe the behaviors of his ex-girlfriend and the girls at his school in Arizona, right? And you know this, Mr. SF. There's lots of thottery going on, right? Tons of it. That's half of it. The other half is to just work on himself and have a new focus. Because think about it. If she cheated on him, why is he, or just, she wanted to be for the streets, right? If she wanted to be for the streets, why is he so hung up on her, right? I get it. He was there, he got her young. I'm sure he maybe thought it was going to be happily ever after, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, think about it. He's young enough where he can go out and go, he has his own hobbies. He can go live his own life and see she's for the streets like the rest of them. So just focus on him. Just tell him to double down.
Is there a video that talks about one-itis?
I'm sure there is.
It's can you think of either like Minister Japp or Kevin Samuels? Is there someone who really hits home the one-itis thing? Because it sounds like he's suffering from one-itis.
I know it's been mentioned before. Like I know, like I said, I believe Donovan Sharp talked about it maybe a year or so back. He talked about guys with one-itis, but like as a general rule of thumb, it's unnecessary to have one-itis because remember, the old Migtown saying, which is, we all know it, right? It's almost like a Migtown commandment. She's not yours; it's just your turn. Especially now with an open sexual marketplace, embrace that. Don't be mad about it. Just be like, yo, look, I'm gonna have my fun and then keep it moving. So she didn't love him, obviously. Any woman who says I want to be for the streets at that age in her teens and early 20s, that gives you everything you need. This guy dodged a bullet. Imagine he had committed to her long term, right? Marriage, kids, house, cars. If he would have invested all his entire life into this woman, he's going to end up getting divorce raped, right?
Yeah.
Game over.
Like he's going to come home one day and see her, see someone bunker busting her.
Absolutely.
And lose everything in family court.
Absolutely. He should be grateful. I hope Mr. SF lets him know and he can hear this. Be grateful that she revealed herself to you, Mr. Friend of SF. She revealed herself early in the relationship process, right? There was no marriage, there's no kids, there's no house, there's no cohabitation. She revealed her true self, which is she's a thought. She revealed that early on. You didn't invest that much. So move on. Learn from the times that you had, embrace the times you had, enjoy the times you had. Let that be a reminder that yes, there are things about being in a relationship that are good, but just look at the turmoil and discord that was caused with her because her actions are purely selfish. So,
and if you want to get back at her, either fuck her best friend or her sister.
That's a given. That's a given. Yeah, but great question, man. I hope this advice helps him because focusing on yourself is a big deal, right? Your hobbies, lift weights, study in class, knock that shit out of the park like this. You don't need them. She's going to come back. Don't worry. This woman's going to come back.
Already has.
Oh, there it is. Let me ask you this.
She already has.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Did she come back after your buddy found out she was getting smashed by other dudes?
No, actually, one of her new college friends, the ones that got her off doing the thought shit, messaged him trying to get some dick on the side.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
I knew it. Dude, I figured there was gonna be one or two things. It was that, or it was she was just getting smashed.
Suddenly she's interested again, huh?
This is the state of women, man. This is the state of Western women. These bitches ain't shit.
I think this is clearly a sign of how shallow she is and what a bullet he dodged.
Yeah, she doesn't want him. Look, dude, when women have there's an actual term for it. It's competition anxiety. A woman will view you as, yeah, you ain't nothing. I can just discard you. But then the moment her friends are interested, or a woman who looks more attractive than her is interested, suddenly she wants to be with you. You know, suddenly, or you become much more successful, right? You become much more successful, and then now, like once again, more women are attracted to you. Then she runs back. They crawl back. No, man, fuck her. Don't answer a text. Nothing. But if you want to smash her friends, if he just can't help himself and he really wants to get back at her, make sure they're clean first. Strap up. Make sure you don't get any kids or nothing. They could be plotting something on you. But definitely smash them. And preferably smash them together. Honestly. No bullshit, because they'll be down. Trust me. Trust me, they'll be down.
That is the proper way to dick someone down.
Absolutely. Yeah, dick slap these bitches. Fuck that. But yeah, that is much appreciated.
Mr. SF, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks, brother. The state of women in China and in Arizona, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Leximus, welcome back to the program. It's been a month. It's been a month since we had you on here.
Yes, it has. It has, and I'm glad to be back.
We're always glad to have you back, and we're always glad to have you. And then obviously your lady, Miss Lex, happens to be sleeping, but hopefully we can get her on at some point and before this episode goes out, and she can talk about the state of these modern women. And Lex, let people know kind of like what your general area is and what the women are like in your area.
Well, so I'm out here in Florida, but I'll be talking about how women were in the military. That's been my experience and what I've seen more often. That's what I'm going to be talking about.
Beautiful. Expose these thoughts.
Well, where to begin? These women ain't shit. They don't do shit. They have life on easy mode in the military. So when you're in basic training, for me, that was about 5 years ago. Women had to do a minimum. Like, so when you come in, you're 18 years old or whatever, 17 to 18 years old, you had to do 13 push-ups minimum to pass the basic training standard.
Like 13, but that's nothing.
Exactly. But for men, you had to do about 35, just the minimum.
That's still nothing, but I know what you're saying. That's absurd, though. 13 is absurd.
Yeah, but you would be surprised. These girls were struggling. I mean, physically struggling. Like, you could see them crying, trying to do everything they could for 13. And I wasn't in the best shape when I first went in 5 years ago, and I'm not in the best shape now. But I can still do more than fucking 13 push-ups. So it's like, are you fucking kidding me? And these are the people that are on the front lines now, because women are now allowed in combat roles, so they can be infantrymen, or my bad, infantry women. So, we're fucked.
So we got someone who can't even do 13 push-ups is the country's first line of defense, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, or I had a squad mate, or not a squad mate, a platoon member. She was barely past like the limit before you needed to have like a waiver to enter the military. I think 4'10", 4'11". She's short as hell. She was not that strong. And so say if we were in a because I was in Korea when I was stationed there. So say if we had gone to war with Korea and I had got shot and say she was there, it was up to her to try to save me, try to carry me in full battle rattle. So that's 200 plus pounds there. She's 4'11". She couldn't fucking carry me. I mean, just it's bad out here.
So she was there as a gender quota, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. What were they like in Korea?
Oh, in Korea, so in Korea, like Korean women, I didn't really interact as much with. It just wasn't a thing. But like I knew that there was a lot of women that would like to go mess around with foreigners, especially soldiers, because they knew of the benefits they could do. Like Korean women love white guys and black guys. If you were that, you're pretty much just slaying pussy out there in Korea. But when
Oh,
you're a
so they don't
soldier,
have traditional values, Lex?
nah, fuck no.
That's for all. I had to say that specifically for the white and black guys in particular who keep thinking that they're going to go get an Asian wife.
Pretty much. And if you were a soldier, they had curfew. I think they still have curfew, or they might have gotten rid of it. But when I was in, that was like around 2017, around that time. Like that's when Trump and Kim were kind of like, really butting heads, and it seemed like we were going to go for war for a while there. I mean, they've always had curfew and everything, but it's like, we still had to follow U.S. law. So even though the drinking age in Korea was about like 18 or 19, if you were 21, you couldn't drink. So if you got caught drinking, oh Lord, don't get caught drinking. So you would have barracks parties, and you had to have all the new, privates and everything, and private first class and specialists out in the barracks, having barracks parties, getting drunk, doing all these things, and getting ran through, getting fucking the getting trains ran through, but how we call them in Korea called KTX, because KTX is the bullet train out there. So if you get a train ran in Korea, it's called the KTX. Oh yeah,
So let me get this straight. You got girls who are, oh, I'm sorry, women who are around 4'10", getting
yeah.
trains run on them by big burly military dudes.
Let me tell you a story real quick. I had I knew a girl, I should say. She was in my platoon, the same 410 girl, 410, 411 girl. She was supposedly a lesbian, so she'd only ever had been with women, quote unquote. She got drunk one time, 4th of July, and she had sex for the first time. She had sex with, a big old black dude. Like this guy was like 6'3", like 245. He was a big, big dude, but he was in great shape, and he was basically Mandingo. He ripped her in half. I'm not even joking. I saw pictures of what the bed looked like afterwards. It looked like a fucking murder scene. Her pussy
Ooh,
was torn into two. She almost bled to death. She had
ooh.
to go to the hospital and perform emergency surgery to close up her vagina because it was her first time and everything. So it's like, it's that bad.
I bet she liked it though.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Lex. Did she continue to have sex with men?
From what I heard, no, but I had always heard that she would like mess around with both. So I don't know. I had
Yeah,
heard
so
rumors, and
no
then
more lesbian. So bi at best, right? Like so
yeah,
either
by it
bi,
best.
but certainly not lesbian.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and after that, she had surgery. She literally did nothing for 6 months. She's like, "Oh, I can't lift this. Oh, I can't do that. It's because of like my
Oh,
my
she milked
back
it.
problems." But everyone knew what her back problems were.
Oh
Her
yeah, it got
fucking
blown
pussy.
out.
Yeah, she got her
Yeah,
back blown out.
literally.
You know what? Let me say this, man. Let me toast to that brother who blew this bitch's back out and converted a lesbian. Now, lesbians don't really exist, but we're just going to give him the gold star sticker anyway. So
Yep.
congratulations to him for creating that murder scene. And
No, I mean it was bad, Drex. When I say it looked like a fucking murder scene, it looked like a fucking murder scene. It was bad. I think she lost like a good 2 liters or 3 liters of blood. It
damn.
was that.
I
I
mean,
mean, it was
do
it
you
was
believe
bad.
that this dude, because I know him, I just know how his brain was thinking. And when you, as a female, if you say that you're a lesbian, I know he gave it his A effort, right? Like he went all the way in.
Oh yeah, she gave her everything. Like they were both drunk, so
Oh, fuck you, Koopa.
That is
it was
great.
bad.
That is
Or,
great.
or
So when you were in the service, what did you notice was like the biggest commonality with the women in the service? Like they're coming from all different ethnic groups, different socioeconomic status. I'm assuming all these women come in, they all show up in the military in some form or fashion that you're dealing with, whether they're Air Force, Navy, Marines, whatever it may be. What was the one common thread that you saw with the women?
they did the Kamala Harris and got promoted by getting on their knees.
Imagine that.
But it depends. Like, so there'd be different levels of it. So there'd be some who would just be kind of flirting around with like their NCOs or like their officers and stuff, and then there'd be full-on ones who are just getting their backs blown out by the, sergeant in the supply room or in the armory room, like whatever. So there's levels to it, but that was commonality. They would use their looks if they had them to their advantage, or they would use their bodies if they had it to their advantage. And even if they didn't have their body or looks, they still use it to their advantage at some point.
And let me ask you this. I'm assuming a lot, I've been aware of military guys. I've dealt with quite a few of them. Were a lot of these military guys in relationships that these women knew full well about?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so one example, there was this one dude who had a fiance and everything. He got a girl pregnant, you know, in the in our platoon. So they were in the same they were my bad in this company. So they were those two were in the same platoon. And so, they were, hooking up. And so the guy had his fiance back in the States, and he got the girl that was in his platoon pregnant, but abortions are illegal in Korea. So she had to literally go on medical emergency. So she got free leave, paid for everything to go back to the States to get an abortion, and he never told his fiance.
Scandalous.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Oh yeah. It's bad.
And back home, that you're sitting out in Florida now, you're dealing with all the things you're dealing with. You got Miss Leximus. What have you seen out of modern women in the state of Florida?
So out here in Tampa, it's a lot of German Shepherds, especially where we live. It's like, German Shepherds HQ. Everywhere you go, if you go to Walmart, German Shepherds here. If you go to Target, German Shepherds there. If you go to USF, German Shepherds here and there. It's bad out here. So, but where me and Miss Lex grew up, we're both from the same town. Where we grew up in the same town, it's a little bit more like, I guess, like a little more high class. So there, like a well class. I'll just say it like Naples. We're both from Naples, so like you didn't see it as much. You had people from all like socioeconomic statuses in like the Naples area, but out here in Tampa, it's fucking degeneracy.
So, in the old days, they used to do a call to prayer by ringing the town's church bell. Is there like a German Shepherd that happens at like 10 o'clock every night?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. They're always making fucking noise and sound. It's just every night you'll be hearing like sounds outside, like they're talking or they're smoking or they got like their baby mama's coming over or their baby daddy's coming over or just all this shit throughout the night, throughout the day, at all times of the day. I'm like, God damn, do you people not sleep? Do you people not do stuff? Like,
no, they don't.
Me.
They literally don't.
No, they don't do shit, man.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see any of these women as solid wife or girlfriend material?
Absolutely
like whether
not even in a million fucking years.
Yeah, so if you were a young boy or you had a son or a nephew or something, and he's out and about, he's hanging out in Tampa, right? He grows up, he graduates high school. What are you going to tell him?
Don't stick your dick in a German Shepherd. Don't ever do it. It's not worth it. Don't be like our man, Dirty Dan. Exactly, Cooper.
Dirty Dan when we get him on, man.
Oh, and let me say one thing too about like the military too. You shouldn't even want to mess with these women, because I had my buddy of mine, I think I talked about it before. He got got a case. He got a Me Too case. Well, in the Army, it's called a Sharp case. But this man almost got his whole life ruined.
Damn. And did you find that any of these women were telling the truth or not?
Very rarely was it like actual case, and if it was something, it was like kind of over exaggerated or kind of blown out of proportions to a bit. So there was some truth, but very rarely was it like that. Like if they were telling the truth, it was like a twisted version of the truth. Because there were some cases of actual like fucked up things happening to some girls, and I'm not gonna deny that. But the majority of these cases out here, these women are fucking lying.
There's a huge Me Too wave hitting the Canadian military. Like all our top commanders are either retiring or just like stepping down for criminal investigations. Yeah. Really weird.
Because like that stuff happened more in like the old like Army and stuff. So like if you're looking back like 30 plus years ago, yeah, shit like that actually did happen. It was kind of fucked up. But if you're starting to look at like today's cases, bro, you got these women are lying about everything. Like I will say, like my friend, like he hooked up with the one girl in his platoon. The girl, they were both drinking. They were, and they had sex and everything. And she regretted it the next day. And she said, "Oh, he raped me." there was this whole big investigation. They were trying to find out what was happening. They had no evidence to he had no evidence to corroborate what he was saying. Like, oh, but me and her were just, hanging out. They didn't say they were drinking, because if they both got caught drinking, they would both get kicked out. But they were pretty much saying, like, oh, like we were just, hanging out, and we were starting to, we kissed and we did this and we had sex, but there was like no point where she ever said no. I didn't think I did anything wrong. And they didn't believe him. They put him into a different company. They were basically starting to do the whole process of kicking him out of the military, putting him in as a sexual predator, and taking him to like Leavenworth. Like, he would have gone to fucking prison. But thankfully enough, one of his other friends was talking to the girl. He recorded the conversation, and he had messages too, saying like, I regret having sex with. I didn't mean to like get him in trouble or anything, but I just didn't want people thinking that I was, easy, like that I could have sex with everyone.
Damn.
Okay, so Lex, while you're still here, I have a question. I have a Korean related question for you. It's another email that came in. In the premium chat, I posted a picture of a Korean celebrity. His name is Jung Joon Young. I probably butchered that, but and he was caught up in a scandal called the Burning Sun scandal. Does that mean anything to you?
It depends. You'd have to go into it, because I think I know it. Is it about like a whole prostitution ring or something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was around that time. I was in Korea around that time, and I vaguely remember it. So
okay, so that's the picture of the guy there. He's like a big K-pop celebrity in Korea.
Yeah.
Anyway, the emailer asked if that guy looks beta as fuck to us, and I don't know what a Korean beta looks like.
That's how all men look like over there. I'm not even joking.
What is with is it cold in South Korea? Because what is with the turtleneck?
In the winters it's freezing, but in the summers it's so hot. It's like the both extremes. There's no in between.
I don't know. Does that guy look like a sexual predator to you, Drex?
I mean, that's how. So a lot of the boy bands and stuff look like that. They are a lot of effeminate. They actually do wear makeup. They do dye their hair. Like, they do makeup over there. The men in Korea, and they all have that long shaggy hair. But you do have like manly men over there in Korea. But they're usually just bigger guys. Like, they're more built and stuff. But a lot of the Korean men are kind of like scrawny-ish, but not like the stereotypical short Asian. They're actually kind of tall. I think they're like the average height is like 5'8", 5'9" for a Korean male, which is about almost the average height for an American. So they're not that short, and so they can range, but they do have a lot of effeminate features. Like, one of my good friends, I love that guy Moon. He was a little scrawny little thing, but he looked like he was like fucking 18, but he was like 24, 25 when I knew him.
Oh yeah, we just can't. You never know the ages of these guys.
No, and plus the whole Korean age is different. So when you're born in Korea, you're automatically 1 year old, and then every year, every January 1st, you gain a year. So they don't really celebrate like their birthdays like that. So they have Korean age and American age. So say if you were born on weird. December 31st, you'd be 1, and then on January 1st, you'd be 2. I think that's how it works. So their age can fluctuate 1 to 2 years.
Oh damn.
So this is a funny thing too. I had a buddy of mine who was messing around with a Korean girl. He's like, oh yeah, no, I'm messing with this Korean girl. She's kind of cute. Her name is something. We'll just call her Gina.
Young Ho.
Yeah, Young Ho. And so she's like, oh yeah, no, Young Ho, she's really nice. Oh, she's like she's 18 and stuff. And I'm thinking, wait, is she Korean 18 or American 18? And then that's like when the clock starts thinking in his head, like the cogs start turning, like, oh shit, I don't know. And so he finds out she was Korean 18. So that means she was 16 or 17. Oh. He was like in his 20s. So he was like, bro, you might want to, cut that shit out right now, because 19 is like legal adult in Korea.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So this celebrity that I posted a picture of was convicted of gang rape, proven by text messages, and then he admitted to secretly filming women without their consent.
I
Yeah.
do vaguely remember
Yeah.
that case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big scumbag. God. If I were to show that picture to my father, he'd be like, "Holy shit, that lesbian's hot."
No, but that's how all those K-pop guys look like. Literally, all of them look like that.
I don't know, Drex. Anything else to Mr. Lexmus? I think we need to let him get it back up to bed there.
Oh yeah, we'll let Lex get back to bed, man. And yeah, whenever you want Miss Lexmus to come on, we'll add her to her state, and we'll let you out here with this question, Lex. You're out and about. What percentage of these modern women do you leave are marriage material in Florida and in Korea? All your experiences.
Ooh. So, in Florida, if you're in the Tampa area, your mileage may vary. It's Miss Lex, was generous with that 5%, but it's more closer to that 1 to 2% if you're out here in Tampa. That's what we know. And in Naples, it's probably around that 5%. But like if you're like overall, it's probably like a 2 to 4%. And then like in Korea, it could vary. I didn't really mess around with Korean girls or talk with them like that much, so I don't really know. But from what I saw, just from what I saw from my friends, like if they were messing with them, it could vary. So you might have a little more better chance. But then I also remember women are women, so no matter where you go in the world, so their female nature is universal. So it could be a little bit more than 5%. It could be a little bit less than 5%.
Damn.
All right. Well, Mr. Lex, friend of the show, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in.
Appearing again.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.
Have a good night.
All right. Good night. Good night.
The legend Roth. That accent. That shit's great, man.
G'day.
The accent is the cheat code for getting women, right?
Well, I have actually been to America, and we went out for one of my who I was over there visiting. It was for his bachelor's party, and yes, most of the women in the bar were talking to me a lot more than they were to many other people.
It's a cheat code, man.
I bet they had to bring out a mop and bucket for a few of them.
But that was quite a few years ago, so.
Rob, what did you think about the difference in America compared to your neck of the woods? Kind of let people know where you're at and how the women are in your area.
Well, so I'm in my early 40s. So I'm an Australian who's currently an expat living in Europe. When I was in America, it was 20 odd years ago, so things have changed significantly since then. But the one thing I mostly remember at the time was Americans didn't get sarcasm. And I made an awful lot of money. Well, not money, but I drank an awful lot for free because Americans don't know a lot about other countries. So, when you say to them, what's the capital of Australia? I'll bet the next round on this.
Should be Melbourne, right? Well, you guys call it Melbourne.
Canberra. So you both owe me a round of drinks.
I'm sure I'd lose, man. I mean, I know some of these places, but when it comes to capitals, it's like, look, man, I visited for other reasons. I wasn't always hitting the capital. But Rob, what are one of the things that you've noticed? You said obviously, you're in Australia, you were here, you were there. Did you notice that there was any real big difference between the women or the relationships between men and women where you're at?
Where I am at the moment, as I said, there's a lot of expats, and it's a fairly central European country. And what I find is a lot of people from sort of the lower socioeconomic countries, Armenia and Belarus and Moldova and all of that sort of thing, they come here for work, and they might be in a supposedly stable relationship, but when they get here, they sort of start looking for their meal ticket. And because So Australia is very much getting to be a lot like America, an awful lot of, blue headland whales and other such things. So and over here, I mean, many of the countries, their women still look like women. They're thin, that they seem, a little bit nice and all of that sort of thing. But from the ones who have managed to land that ring and get their, citizenship or, visa extended for being in a partnership relationship, they most of them change fairly quickly after that happens. So yeah.
So you're used to seeing these women adapt to the environment that they live in, right? Like so a woman comes from country X, she comes over to the West, whether that be America, Canada, wherever, and then she just becomes whatever most of the women in that area are like, right?
Yeah. The time it takes varies. It depends on, how much they interact with the local people and that sort of thing. Some of them who stay in, like their little enclave, depending on where they work, they might, work in their country's mission and that sort of thing, and they sort of stay in that area. And from my interactions with them, the ones who stay within their own sort of culture thing and don't really integrate tend to stay more traditional to their country.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, because they're here for only a couple of years and then they go back home, you can see that. But other ones who come here and start experiencing the local life, we'll say, many of them change very quickly.
What is the biggest change that you've seen? Like when you saw a woman go from, let's say she started off being very traditional or something. Like, what is the biggest gap that you've seen where a woman went like one extreme to another? Have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen anyone go from sort of the traditional and then, within 6 months they're dyeing their hair blue and that sort of thing, screaming feminism. But the most extreme thing I think I see is out of three people that I know reasonably well. All of them were in either married or in long-term relationships or getting married. One of them, I went to their wedding in their home country, and then 6 months later they were divorced and shacking up with someone else.
6 months?
Yep.
God damn.
There were, on her defence, as far as I'm aware, she hadn't done anything, but he moved to another country for work and stepped out a number of times. So she, from what I understand, kicked him to the curb for cheating.
Yeah, I gotta give a win to her. That was some scumbag shit on his part, though.
Yeah. And so then, and then she did find someone else here and that. But as far as I'm aware, that only happened after they were divorced. But, the other ones, within 6 months of being here, they have, gotten rid of partner back in home country and are starting to date, hit up Tinder, go out to the clubs, that sort of thing.
Damn. Wow.
So people who say, X country is great, they're also traditional over here and everything else. That may be true if they're in their country, in their culture, but if you're looking to not move there and coming back home, or bringing them back with you, buyer beware.
Well, I got a question. Why do you believe it's so much easier for men to stay with their own belief systems? Like if a man is a certain way, he can live in any country, any city, he's still himself. Whereas with women, it seems like you take them out of environment A and put them in environment B, they quickly just go all into whatever that new environment is.
Is it locus of self, I think, would be the answer, because most guys, if they're in any way comfortable in themselves don't really change. They are who they are. They're there to be them. And, you might, be more polite in certain situations or know, okay, in this situation, I've got to do this to not offend people. But for the most part, men are pretty straight up, I find. Whereas I think women, because they try to fit in and get their identity more from external sources, if they're in an environment that is acting a certain way, they'll very quickly act that way to fit in and be part of the group, because it's a lot harder and this is just from my experience, I find it seems a lot harder for women to be the outlier or the solo person in a group rather than try to fit in, whereas, a group of guys could have 5 guys that are vastly different and they're all being themselves, but they still get along because they might share a common interest.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So I would say, that would be my answer, that I think they just adapt to fit into the situation that they see it as.
Do you see that? Obviously, you talked about some of these women going to kind of like swallowing the feminist Kool-Aid. Have you seen more of it a situation where the ages of the women have changed with feminist ideology in the different countries you've lived in?
I
Are they
have
getting
it.
like
It is
younger?
getting younger. Yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
getting younger. I mean, when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s and things, it was, most people still were in the, at least, around, you go and think, well, most people still thought, okay, you finish school, you get a job, you get married, you have kids. It was that sort of traditional life plan. But over time, because of the external sources and things, with women now being the equal of men in all things, they've come to realise that, they don't need no man until they hit about 35 and then realise, shit, I've got another 30 years of work ahead of me.
How do you react to that? Here you are, you're living in country X in Europe, you're living in country Y, you're over in Australia, you've lived a life. How do you react to that when these women start to panic?
Well, I admit I do a little bit of there, you'll be fine. I'm sure you'll find somebody eventually. Mostly because of what I've done, I'm in a reasonably good situation. And fortunately, I have realised that divorce laws suck no matter what country you're in.
Yep.
I've got a friend here who was, because of COVID, broke up with his long-term partner. They had two kids together. And although they were, never married, yes, they did have kids. He's had to move out. He's got to pay for part of the rent on her apartment, got to pay for the kids and everything. And she's still hitting him up for more money. It's saying,
Yep.
oh, but the kids need this. Fortunately, he finally grew a pair and he said, no, look, the court said I have to pay this. I have not paid 1 cent less than that in this whole time. So you wanted this. It's on you now to meet these requirements.
Do you believe that this is just like kind of like its own pandemic? Like, the women everywhere seem to be buying into this because you start to hear the same things from men of all countries, which is one of the inspirations for doing this show. And do you just feel that there's a sense that the guys are reacting to the women in the countries you've been in with indifference now? Do you see these guys pulling away from these women?
I think so, but then I also see it a lot who, because they're expats, some of them would almost be, I think you'd call them sexpats, in that they just move around a lot and they're just using it to sleep with women. And so they're, the ones who are doing that are the ones, I think they're stupid, but that's for other reasons. But, that's what they want to do, so good on them. That they're just making taking advantage, of the situation that they find themselves. Because if the women are out there offering it up, then, why won't they? Why will they not?
Oh, absolutely.
Take part of it.
And we'll get you out of here with this one. What is in each country that you've been in? Which what would you say would be like the general rough estimate in terms of a percentage of marriageable women that a man could say, I believe that this is going to go the distance if I get down on one knee in all the countries you've been in? Like, what do you think is the lowest percentage and highest percentage?
Have you been Pakistan? Because I think that's the lowest percentage.
I think it comes down to the culture of the country, because in some of the Eastern European countries, because of the culture of staying together, not getting divorced, that sort of thing, because there's a social construct around, okay, if you get divorced, there are social penalties as such. People will excommunicate you and not interact with you. So that adds to it. But most Western countries, I'd say the percentage is very low, and it's a very, very round number, somewhere between -1 and 1. So,
savage.
But a lot of other countries, if you're in that country and have grown up in that country, some of them I could say could be up to maybe 20%.
Higher than I would expect.
But that's only within those countries, within that culture. As soon as you take them out of that culture, it changes.
Oh, absolutely. That's why they always say leave them there, right? They always say whatever country you meet your wife or whatever girlfriend, leave her in that country.
All right. Speaking of countries, we're gonna do a quick lightning round here. I really want to see how bad Drex is at naming capitals in the world. So give us a country. Drex and I will both try to guess the capital.
Okay, let's start off somewhere reasonable. Austria?
Oh, shit. I know that. Fuck me. I actually do. God damn it.
Yeah, we'll do the honor system here. No Google.
Yeah, I'm not using Google. God damn it. When you can picture something in your mind, like, I know that. Fucking Austria. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Austria.
He's eating me. Why? I feel like I could pronounce the city's name just by like going the
fuck. I can't. I can actually I can see it, and I'm just like, nope.
Okay. Well, it's Vienna.
God damn it! I fucking didn't know
Vienna?
that.
Oh,
I actually mentioned it.
That's not what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
All right. Another one.
Okay, something around here. New Zealand.
Oh, it's Auckland, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Auckland. It's not Christchurch. It's Auckland. Christchurch, I think.
It's Wellington. It's Wellington.
Is it?
Yep.
Jesus.
Really?
Dude, no one talks about Wellington. Literally nobody.
It's like Canberra,
it's the
too.
capital.
No one talks about Canberra.
No. Let's try the Philippines.
Yeah.
Manila.
You got that one?
Everyone's
one more.
It's the one big one.
Okay, let's try something easy. Sweden.
Let's consider the easy one. Let's see. Sweden. Fuck.
Helsinki, I think, is Finland.
No, that's not Sweden. Sweden. Yeah, God damn it.
But I hear it too. I'm gonna be like, "Fuck! I should have known that." I'm sorry, Keck. I'm really sorry, Keck.
Stockholm.
Yep, knew it.
Yep,
knew
I
it.
should have.
Stockholm. It's the biggest. When someone says Sweden, so here's what's funny. I learned a lot of these. Funny enough, this is how bad it is. This is why I'm ashamed of myself. There was a game, a Mexican version of Monopoly called Jumbo Jet, right? And in America, we had Monopoly. In Mexico, they had Jumbo Jet. A lot of the capitals were the big cities. That's how we started learning world capitals before I ever traveled a lot, right? And now, because I mean that's been years ago, but like when you travel, usually you're traveling to a place, right? Like you'll say, "Oh, I'm flying into Amsterdam, I'm flying into here, I'm flying into there." But it's like you may go to a capital in a place that you visit, but in general, you tend to go to like the places that you're visiting, right? If I say, "Yo, I'm hanging out with Roth in place X, Y, and Z," you know.
Yep.
But yeah, but unless someone like points out, we're going to the capital, like flying to Dominican Republic, right? We're going to Santo Domingo. This is the capital. So someone is letting you know. And I was in Colombia. You're at the capital. This is Bogota. Oh, okay. Like once someone makes a note of it, you tend to remember. But if you just go to a place where you're just going to enjoy, if someone doesn't say like, oh yeah, this, like, yeah, of course I knew fucking Stockholm, Sweden. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me tonight.
All right, and Roth, I got one for you. What's the capital of Canada?
Capital of Canada is Ottawa.
Yeah, you got it. All right, get out of here, man. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing your perspective.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for coming on, man. We love getting your perspective from the other side of the West.
Catch you later.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Well, sixth floor, welcome to the show.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
And that's all we have time for today, folks. Thanks for listening. See you next week.
Dick.
All right, Drex, go on.
Oh yeah. So this is Mr. Sixth Floor Madness. Let everybody know what part of the world you're in, and what are the women like, and what is the current dating scene like between men and women.
So I'm in America, specifically in Western Maryland, which for those people not familiar with Maryland, Western Maryland is basically its own state. It's Appalachian Mountains, so basically just think of it as West Virginia 2.0. And so the women around here basically fall into one of three categories, in that you either get meth heads, white trailer trash, or you get the black women that live in the cities, or you have the tiny little enclaves that are right in the downtown sections of the cities that are basically the young liberal college women preppy types.
Ugh.
And it's fascinating to compare them, because every single stereotype you think of about just the trashy white trash women or the trashy black ghetto women, I've seen it. Whether it's just way out in the mountains somewhere, or if it's, I mean, hell, if there was a nuclear apocalypse tomorrow, Cumberland would not be any different.
Yep.
And then Hagerstown and Frostburg, they're a little bit better, but not by much.
Damn.
But it's just depressing. And I don't know if that's just me with rose-tinted glasses remembering how when I was in college it wasn't that bad. But I'm only 32. It wasn't that long ago I was in college.
How much do you think has changed? In like, because you're looking back, and like you said, let's just say a decade, right? How much has changed in your eyes with women in a decade?
It's definitely accelerated, because I went to college in the local area, and so most of the women that I went to college with were from the surrounding area. We didn't get a lot of out-of-state people. And yeah, there was the occasional blue-haired feminist, and you get the land whale or the country chick or the ghetto chick, but like it was not a huge percentage. Like I dated in college. I met my ex-wife in college.
Damn.
And now, I've got some younger friends, and they tell me what it's like dating in college, and they're a lot more careful. They don't have as many options.
What do the young guys tell you?
Their big concern is a false Me Too accusation. And
that
so
didn't take long, did it?
Yeah. Or they lower their standards.
Oh no.
One of my buddies is dating she's literally got blue hair. But she's not fat. Like they work out at the gym together, so she's semi-normal. But it's just one of those things where I'm waiting. It's just like, you're super lefty, you have blue hair, like I just feel like there will come a time where she'll snap or something.
Damn. Have you told your friend this?
No. He doesn't have the best luck with women, so it's just kind of like, I'm not getting involved in that.
How much do you think the current state of women is due to male thirst?
I think it's a combination of male thirst and the social media having a big impact, because you can fire up Tinder, or you can go on Instagram and post pictures of yourself, or OnlyFans or whatever, and you can just get inundated with so many simps just being like, oh yeah, you're amazing, you're beautiful. And so it's not necessarily that there are more simps nowadays, it's just that the women have easier access to them.
Yep.
And so it's accelerated female behavior.
Absolutely. Well, and plus, if you think about social media, right? She has access. All women have access on a global scale, right? So think about it like this. Let's say a woman posts a picture, right? She posts a thirst trap. Let's say she gets 100 likes and 50 DMs, right? But at the end of the day, on a global scale, yes, that's very small. But at the end of the, you sort of think about that. She's still got all those likes and all those DMs. You see what I'm saying? Like because it's a global marketplace.
Yeah, it used to be if she wanted. Yeah, it used to be if a woman wanted to get that sort of behavior from men, she'd be limited to her geographical location. She'd have to go to a bar, or since we're in college, meet the guys on campus, and she was limited to that.
Yep.
Now she can just, look, especially my location, since we're only like, an hour and a half, 2-hour drive from Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. If you get your settings on your Tinder app or whatever high enough, then just you can start getting hits from people way out there, and there's a lot of dudes over there.
And what are the kind of women? You said there's 3 different types of women. What are the biggest similarities that you see in them?
Well, the lefty young types, they tend to be off on their own little stereotypes, but there is a lot of crossover between trashy white country girls and the ghetto black girls.
I've always said they're the same person.
Yeah, it's like a lot of them have this just that independent, like, I don't need no man, you need to accept me as I am, even if I'm 50 pounds overweight. Like, I can throw down with the same kind of, man, because I'm strong. It's like, well, yeah, I'll admit that you can wrestle a cow, so yeah, you're a strong woman on that ranch, but that doesn't mean I want to marry you.
How many of these women do get married, man?
I mean, I don't have any hard numbers, but like, I've had to work in Hagerstown because my day job before COVID was I'd clean out foreclosed houses for banks. And so I'd go into houses and just clean out all the personal stuff. And it's like, a lot of those houses, it was single women.
Yep.
Like, they'd either be renting an apartment or something, or they'd be renting a house, or maybe they'd buy the house, and then they couldn't afford to pay it. And so we'd get called in to go in and clean them out. And, they just tend to leave the stuff and just abandon it. And it's like, oh, look at all this jewelry or, whatever shit that I find in the place. It's like, this is very feminine. I'm not seeing like power tools.
What is the reason you think that they leave the place kind of in the condition that they leave it in? Because I'm assuming you've noticed that women leave houses in one condition and men leave houses in another condition when they are going to be foreclosed on or kicked out.
I think it's they just don't want to deal with it anymore. It's sort of a take the important stuff and then just leave and not think about it, not deal with it, not just like, oh, I've got my collection of Beanie Babies or whatever. I'm going back to mom. And then they don't care if their credit gets wrecked or whatever. Like I
Well,
remember
there's that safety net, right?
yeah. Yeah, whereas men, now I have done houses with men or married couples, but yeah, men have I guess a better financial responsibility, or they
Well,
just
because they don't
sort
have
of
a choice. Well, one of the things that you know is that men don't have multiple sources of income, right? Like a guy can't say, "I have women who pay my bills. I have mom and dad pay my bills." Like, no, no, no. Men just have to make it for themselves, and women don't really have to do that.
yeah, it's like so one of my former coworkers, we originally we were employing her boyfriend, and then his woman wanted some, just spending money, so we brought her in to act as just a secretary, do some paperwork, occasionally help out on jobs. So she was getting some money from us, and she was getting unemployment because we were paying her under the books, and she was getting money from the baby daddy because she had 2 kids from some previous guy, and her mom would occasionally send her money, and she was selling tit pics on Craigslist.
Wait, what?
Yeah, apparently
What?
OnlyFans was too high class for her, so she just did it on Craigslist.
Damn.
Okay, so I guess there is a gutter for everyone.
Yeah, and then, just to give you an idea of what kind of woman this is, after we fired her for something I don't even remember, she decided she wanted to lose weight. So she picked up a meth habit.
Oh.
I
Oh.
mean, you can't argue with results, right?
Oh.
I saw
shit.
pictures of her a couple weeks afterwards. She did lose weight.
Did she lose her teeth?
And skin and teeth and hair. Fuck.
Well, just think of the blowjobs now.
Hey, you can get a gum job.
You are welcome.
Well,
Right.
Well, the question would be to let you go would be as you're out there and you're seeing these things, what are you seeing for the young guys out there? Like, what would you see that is there any hope from what you've seen on the dating market for the young guys? You see the state of women. You've described 3 different types. Do you see any hope for the young guys to find marriage material within these women?
Not in my geographical location. Dating market fucking sucks. I matched with one girl on Hinge, then found out she had some kind of STD.
Oh,
It's just like, I'm not touching that.
damn. At least you found out ahead of time, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I will give her that. She let me know ahead of time. She was open, responsible at it. It's like, okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, in some states, that's not even a crime anymore.
Yeah.
Let that set in, right?
Yeah, so I guess my only possible advice to young people is get lucky and lock somebody down early.
Yep.
Because the older you get, you start running into the divorcees, the single moms, and it's just like, like ideally I would like to be married again, but ideally I would like to win the lottery, and I figure those are equal chances.
Go to Utah, man. Scoop up them Mormon girls. I'm telling you, look, if it doesn't work out, at least they do anal on the first date.
I will say that I have had better luck with religious girls than non-religious girls. Not that I've had great luck with religious girls, but I've had better luck.
Yeah, it's better. It's all relative, right, Drex? Because the state of mind you need to be in order to be a devout religious person is similar to that of being a devout wife, right? So you're more likely to have someone in that wheelhouse who's devoutly religious. It's not a high percentage, but it is better.
Yeah, the people around my age in my church that have gotten married so far, they got kids on the way, they're doing good, they're doing happy, but there's still those couple of people that are around my age in my church who got pregnant and we don't know who the dad is, or they knock some girl up. So you get both types in churches, but if you if you get one of the lucky ones that actually, takes it seriously.
Yeah, no, it can work, and I mean, in a pool that gets increasingly shallow, some people are starting to go off the deep end, and that's where we get from the State of the Union, Drex. These guys are out here fucking up.
No, absolutely.
Because they tried jumping into the shallow pool and they smashed their head on the bottom.
Well, yeah, and then they paralyze their freedom, their health, and their finances going forward. And I want guys to really think about the fact that we're covering the spectrum of all different areas of the U.S., around the world, which is...
Oh, the spectrum is well represented here.
Yeah, you're starting to see a lot of these parallels, and it crosses every line, right? Socioeconomic lines, it crosses racial lines. Whether she's this skin color, this height, this weight, it doesn't matter. The fat girls used to be nice because they knew they were fat and hideous, right? And now they're not. So what does that tell you, right?
Yeah, that's something Kevin Samuels talks about a fair amount, and he's right. So many fat girls nowadays are just like, "Oh yeah, I'm beautiful." It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah, well, do you know fat girls used to actually be the most realistic of all. A lot of people don't know that. If you went back to the 90s and talked to like a chubbier girl, she would let you know, like, yeah, if I hope I can lose the weight, but she kind of she was like, okay, I got to be funny, right? I got to be pleasant to be around because I know I can't compete against the so-called Stacy's, right?
And I better know how to suck dick.
Yeah, she knew.
Yeah, like
she
my
knew
ex-wife.
She had to bring something else to the table.
Yeah, she was slightly chubby, but she knew how to work it. I had no complaints.
All right, on that note.
On that note, right?
Sixth Floor, thank you very much for joining us.
No problem.
Have a good one.
Fun.
Absolutely.
Koopa, get in here. Bring your goblin amputee crap in here.
God fucking damn it. I knew that shit was gonna follow me.
Some things are just better left unsaid. What can I say?
Oh, no.
You're gonna get kink shame.
Oh, hell no. They were better left said. Because it made Drexel laugh on Ricardo's.
Okay. The shame thing is actually a good point, Drexel, because without what is the disincentive to getting pegged nowadays? Because you got all these magazines and articles coming out saying why you should try pegging. There's no social stigma, right? So what is the disincentive, realistically?
Well, the reason why I am a big proponent of doing things publicly, right out there in the open, is for that reason. Because look, let's face facts. Any guy who was listening to our last episode and was like, they shouldn't say anything about me because I'm getting pegged. Think about who that guy is. He's not a guy who will ever say that in public, right?
Well,
Never.
Drex, I may have watched goblin amputee porn, but at least I'm not getting pegged.
Yeah, like goblin amputee porn I thought was the lowest of the low, but then I was like, well, but as long as you're not getting pegged,
there are dudes who want to get pegged out there.
Yeah, that's
Drex, for the love of God, don't ever look up goatsy, but there are dudes who love to just goatsy their asshole.
Okay, never mind. Nope, not even good.
Nope, don't even fucking Google it. I'm not.
I've never heard of it.
I'm not explaining further than that.
So we'll go back to those religious chicks. The fear of God is at least a small disincentive to do anything out of line, right? Compared to someone who perhaps is not devout and doesn't care if they get into heaven or hell, or just don't believe in it one way or the other. The disincentive to stay in line, the disincentive of going out of line isn't really there. There's no fear.
I agree with that.
We need to put the fear of God. We need more prayer in school, Drex. We need to put the fear of God back into these hoes.
Man, people don't listen. Here's the thing: if you try to put the fear of God into the women,
even when there was a fear of God, Drexel, they still on the down low. Drex,
always.
It occurred to me. Do you know who the biggest chads of the 1950s were?
Who's that?
Two people: the mailman The milkman.
Yeah, they were smashing.
They were
No,
smashing.
well, I talked about it. That the fact that a lot of people out there don't know that if you go through your family tree, your aunts and uncles, these people aren't all related, right? That's why they always say mama's baby, papa's
DNA
maybe.
tests will tear a family apart.
I don't have
It'll tear
a
a
family.
lot of families apart.
Most people don't have a family tree. I have a family bush, not a family tree.
So, Drex, do you think, now going back to our fear of God argument, do you think that these thoughts get in front of St. Peter and he's just like, wow, you were a hoe. And she's like, I was pressured into it. Like, standing in the face of God himself, and they will still say that they were pressured into it.
Of course, they'll never take accountability.
They don't fear God, though. They don't fear God. You know what they fear?
But the thing is, they don't think God's real. But if they were to stand in front of God in all his holiness, and God is passing judgment on her thoughterry,
that's their biggest fear.
Will she still say, I was pressured into it. It wasn't my fault. I had to. Society's misogynist and women are not equal.
You know,
their biggest fear is judgment, not God.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
social
even
standing.
being judged never will take accountability.
Mm-hmm. Well, Cooper, can you let people know in your neck of the woods what it's like? Where are you at? What is the state of the women in your part of the world?
I am from the one place I really wish I wasn't right now. I am in LA, California, down in Southern California.
Ugh.
Yeah, believe me, I wish I wasn't here. It fucking sucks here. The guys don't look like men. And if you ever, I walked around Calabasas. I even used to go to school in North Hollywood. No-ho, there were hoes. You would never see them interact. You would never see them happy. Someone had their fucking phone out. Even the dudes. On a goddamn date, phones out.
Yep.
Phones out for Harambe.
So what do you think is the state of the relationships in terms of, you're out there, you see these people every day. Are they just real relationships, or are people just doing things for social media, right?
It's all social media. Like, California is the birthplace of social media, and it is the birthplace of basically the TikTok thought. Fucking Facebook, putting a Facebook post is far more important, and making sure people applaud you for that Facebook post is more important than your intergender dynamics. It's more important than even interacting with another human being.
I agree with that.
Even to the men.
Well, I see a lack of interaction, period. Like, what are you starting to see in terms of the interactions? Like when they do interact, do you feel that there's any like love or respect or care there? Or do you just think it's more like maybe people are viewing each other as accessories, men and women?
It definitely is accessories, because the only thing they can really relate to each other these days about is, oh my God, did you see Sarah's Facebook post yesterday? Or, oh, Sarah or our cousin Tina's in another relationship. Oh, let's hope hope this one lasts.
So no real like no real communication where, like, back in the day, people, long before we had cell phones on stuff, we used to have like real relationships with each other. You don't see any of that, or very little of that, going on.
Yeah, no, very little. Like, you don't even build up as deep of a friendship with, like, just, let's say, just between men. Unless you went to school and went to either a college or you went to a trade school, you will build up friendships at the school far more than you will build up a friendship in your neighborhood. Nobody even knows their fucking neighbors these days.
Yeah, for real. Well, when you're out and about in California, how much do you think the leftist progressivism has affected or infected the women out there, and what are the women doing that are actually pushing back against it? Do you see much of that in Cali?
No, matter of fact, I'm even walking around in Calabasas, which is supposedly a red area, and this is actually where I run. I go there to do exercise, and I do all the fun stuff to keep myself in shape and get myself in more shape. I'm seeing German Shepherds in front of Calabasas Commons, just dancing for TikTok. Yeah.
I have no words, man.
It's a shit show, and I'm pretty sure RPM has more to tell you because he's more than likely seen just as much as I have, or not even. He's seen even more. Fucking like the homeless issue is even worse here, and nobody gives a shit until we get that wonderful tranny into office. Then we'll probably care.
Oh, Caitlyn Jenner being governor is going to be the greatest thing that's ever happened to that state.
Oh hell yeah, be the only good thing that happened to this fucking state as it stands.
I don't know. The governor was a good meme.
Oh yeah, but he was boring. He didn't even take advantage of being the governor. He could have come in as a meme every fucking speech.
Yeah, well, because he's a cuck.
Not really. If he was smashing that maid, I mean, his wife wasn't giving it to him, so he went out and looked.
He's not a cuck because he well, that might be more of a simp. But anyways, it's not bad because he was doing it. It's bad because he got caught.
Yeah, of course.
That's sad that California has gotten like that. I got a question for you. What are like the viewpoints of the older Californians, the people who've kind of like witnessed California decline? Like, how do they view everything that's happening?
They're as blind as a fucking bat because they're mostly just watching CNN, and they either never leave their house, or when they do see it, they'll just they always blame it on the boogeyman Trump, even though he's no longer in office.
Oh, believe me.
Still,
we had a conservative prime minister for 9 years. He has been out of office for 6 years now, and they're still blaming shit on him.
Yeah. Keep in mind, Drex, this is where the fucking programming is made. We are turning out feminists faster than a taco stand, okay?
That's sad, man. Well, what do you see in terms of, you have a bunch of women out there who are, going to school, all that, blah, blah, blah. So my question is this. How many of them have you seen that go to these colleges, I'm assumably were liberal, who are not buying in?
None.
You haven't seen any that you can say that's like, okay, I'm not going to be that. I'm going to go, I'm going to go this way when everyone else is going that way. You haven't seen not one.
Not one. Because believe me, dude, believe me. Like the chances of running into that one chick who hasn't been corrupted by the California liberal school system is about as good of a chance of finding the fucking unicorn, if it even exists.
Do you remember, Drex, all the way back to episode 0 when we first started out this show on the potato mic, and I said that the women who are joining the campus Republicans are just looking for successful men.
Yep.
Right? So they may talk the game, they may talk the red pill shit, but they're just there to hook up with the lawyer. Right?
I mean,
a lot of campus Republicans go on to be lawyers.
I mean, let's not forget the Miss Mattress Girl now hanging out with Republicans because she knows she ain't getting shit from a lib.
Fucking chameleons, Drex. They just blend in everywhere, but
absolutely, that's how they survive.
Still a cold-blooded reptile at heart.
Yeah, well,
wait.
Let me ask you this: what are the guys doing in California to react to the feminist-minded women? Like, what is it? Are you, in terms of, especially with age, like, are you seeing like an age gap where certain kids, a certain age, are doing one thing and other guys older are doing another? Reacting to women?
I will say when it comes to getting women, the older generation of men are far more successful, especially with how fucking high the taxes are. Bitches got to find a living, right? And the younger guys who are seeing through this shit, they've subscribed to you. They've subscribed to Lina Migtown, and keep in mind, California is where Coach Greg Adams is. Yep. This is eventually going to just become a central hub for Migtown, where it's basically going to become Japan, where the Migtown men are just going to become the majority eventually.
What about the guys out there in California? Because I've spent enough time out there. What do you think about in terms of the amount of guys who are simping, right? Because you have the women who are feminists, right? How many of these guys are actually getting any action from these feminist-minded Californian chicks?
It depends. Do they act like you? If you're saying they act like you, I mean, I've run into a few who act like you, and then who act like Undead Chronic, and they are smashing these bitches like it's no tomorrow.
Oh, but yeah. Have you ever seen a guy wear like a MAGA hat and he's smashing leftist chicks?
Oh yeah, they're getting shit on by these chicks, and they get followed to the hotel. Let's just say that the hair throwing shit at him stops as soon as they walk in.
Yeah. I've been telling these guys for ages now that everything is in reverse, right? So the beta male bitch made simp nice guy, right?
That don't
He's
work, man.
always going to be rewarded in public, and then he's punished in private. Whereas the guy that they want is the opposite, right? They shun him in public. They say he's a scumbag, he's sexist, he's a misogynist, he's a chauvinist, and then privately they're getting bunker busted.
Mm-hmm. They're taking it. They're getting it. Those guys are winning. And in the words of Charlie Sheen, winning.
Well, in terms of California, you guys have some of the worst laws humanly possible for.
Oh yeah. We're Canada light, if you would consider it Canada light.
Hey! No! You don't get to do that.
What was that bill, Drexel? Bill C what?
Bill C-51.
There you go. We haven't gotten that yet. As soon as we get that, we'll be fully Canada.
Bullshit. Canada's. Don't compare us. All right. You have Silicon Valley, and I'm not talking about the tech companies. It's all the fucking fake titties and your women.
Oh, I was going to ask you that. California is, especially Southern Cal, is the hub of superficiality, right?
Yeah.
What do you have to say about all the women out there in your state who are hitting the wall, and how hard they go for plastic surgery and all that?
I'm just going to quote a Bill Burr joke and just say, you can either look like when it comes to surgery, you can either look like a 40-year-old woman or a 16-year-old fucking lizard. It's your choice. And let me tell you this, nobody wants to smash a 16-year-old lizard.
Nobody? Are you sure?
Well,
says the goblin amputee guy.
Exactly. I have standards.
Yeah, it's
anyways. Well, thank you very much, Koopa. By the way, for those listening, Koopa is the guy who always makes me facepalm with the gifs in the chat here in the Discord.
I make it my sole mission to break one of you during either a show or a chat. I make it my sole mission.
So if you guys hear like a random "God damn it, Koopa" in our recordings, that's what happened.
Yeah, Invader Tech knows what I'm talking about. Thank you, Tech.
All right, Koopa, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for coming on, buddy.
No problem. Keep shaming me, because don't let any guy turn into me.
I'll let him go down that route.
We won't shame a guy for getting a doll.
Yeah, don't you? Yeah, you found something worse than a doll. The fucking goblin amputee porn.
All right, get the hell out of here before.
I'm out.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and get Grim on, and yeah, definitely. So Grim, where are you at? What is your part of the world? What are the women like? What is the dating like?
I'm the Grim Lord, and I'm from Arkansas. Well, living in Arkansas. I'm not from. I'm not going to say where I am from. It's the East Coast. I'll say that much. But I'm currently living in Arkansas, and I've been here about, I want to say almost 20 years.
Damn. So what's it like living in rural America, in good old Arkansas? What's it like?
Okay. Well, I can tell you how it used to be, and I can tell you how it is now. Used to be, there was a lot of tradition. There was still some crazy shit. We were mainly, I was in a very small town. It had 2,000 people. And basically, we were kind of a pot town. That was the big thing. It was all about marijuana. But then meth slowly started to creep in. Slowly but surely, it started to creep in. And everybody that was just, kind of hanging out, smoking pot, listening to rock music and all that kind of stuff, it slowly got into meth. And everybody started just losing it. I mean, people's teeth started falling out. All this crazy stuff started happening, and it just took off like wildfire. It was just bad, terrible. I mean, my ex-girlfriend, she was on meth. I didn't know it.
God damn! What is it? The meth?
Yeah. She actually said that she was using it for weight loss. And yeah.
Tess Holliday's gonna come out next week saying she's got a meth problem.
Now, here's the thing about meth, though. When you take meth, sure, you'll lose weight, but she also lost all the fat out of her breasts, and she used to have like enormous natural breasts, and because she used all that meth, all the fat went down. So when you saw her boobs, it's like the grossest thing ever because they're just these long like sausages. It's yeah,
She should
because
get a trial at
all
the Hague for that crime against humanity.
oh yeah, it was really, really bad. I mean, she was just on it so bad. Yeah, and she was considered to be one of the more traditional. I mean, now we did have, I was with the rock crowd, the crazy crowd. They did stuff, but even so, it wasn't as crazy as it is now. There wasn't all this TikTok and not Tumblr, but Tinder and all that crazy stuff. None of this stuff existed, and I think it was better for it. Everything was better for it. Just don't act like they.
Well, how do you think this has affected just the relationships out there? This culture.
Well, they're okay. This is twofold. First of all, I have noticed that there are young couples that are trying to make this work. I've seen young couples, and I don't know if it's just a young teenage fling or if it's something where they're actively trying to, try to follow the traditional things. Maybe, I mean, the church is still kind of active around here. We still do have some level of authority, especially within other cultures. We have, a melting pot around here. We have the very traditional Korean, very traditional Muslim, very traditional Mexican and all that stuff. There's still a lot of Mexican Catholic and all that stuff that goes on around here. So it's still very traditional. However, it's not going to be much longer because I see little just sputtering, just little like sprinkling of the colored hair. Like the colored hair is the new rebel thing. Back when I was
Yeah.
young, it was the goth. Like I used to be a goth and all that. But now it's all this colored hair and this feminism and this other stuff. And when I was younger, rock would teach women to be rebels. I'm like, okay, I can deal with a sassy rebel all day long. But now hip hop is teaching them to be ghetto trash and basically, coupled with the female empowerment thing, now you got ghetto trash that wants to be empowered. And this isn't just, like I said, the white queens or whatever they want to call them, but it's the damn Mexican, all of them. Asian. I listened to an Asian girl that had a fucking hood accent, and I'm like, what the fuck? That's the biggest turnoff ever.
Absolutely.
So, it's so terrible, guys. It's single mother hell. I noticed that comment. You said single mother heaven. No, this is single mother hell. I work in the retail industry. So I see mothers come in with like 4 or 5 kids, and I swear to God, some of them is like, I don't know if you remember that Family Guy episode where they had Stewie over and all the kids were a different color.
Yep.
That's what we got going on. All the kids are a different color. And I'm just like, oh my God, what's going on?
Well,
And
I'm
meanwhile,
curious. What do you think about the amount you mentioned earlier about women and just people in general in your region talking about traditionalism? What do you think about what it does to yourself and other guys where you have a culture that's pushing traditionalism, yet you're seeing, like you said, all these kids born out of wedlock, thotting, drugs. Like how do you reconcile those two?
I mean, here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing it slowly but surely fade away. Um, there's still going to be some people around here that are very traditional. I don't think that will change unless they're, I guess, killed. I mean, that's the only way I can say. But other than that, the other people, no. I mean, because we have the state capitol. They're very progressive up there. They're super progressive up there. And then you have these more rural parts, like I mentioned. And of course, there's mixing because people from the capital do come over to this part and so on. We just had a casino built up. So it's going to bring more people from the state capital and other areas that are more progressive into this area. So that's an issue. Please also keep in mind, I live in a minority community. We have a all black college pretty much. So I see a lot of craziness, and I can tell you all about the black culture down here. The black culture is really, it's really odd because you do have thought, and thought does definitely go on. However, there is a lot of traditional values still. Like they still have some sort of conservative tone. Like there's a lot of women that are like, oh, I just want to find this good traditional man and all that. And of course, there's guys talking about, well, she's got her guys that she sees, her side dudes, and I've got
Damn.
my side girls. Oh yeah. See, I work with a lot of college kids. So I'm pretty much, yeah, I'm seeing it. But you know what I am seeing? Red pill. I am definitely seeing a lot more black men being red pilled on these black, a lot more. And I see a lot more that, I mean, there are guys that are definitely dating them because I think it's just a traditional thing. I don't know. But I know for sure that they are definitely kind of just keeping them up on their shit, talking. I mean, they even have gotten into arguments and stuff because we'll have the women work with the men, and the men will say, "Oh, these bitches ain't shit," all this other stuff, and they'll talk about it. Like we'll have great big conversations about all this because I work in a stock room. So we'll have these huge conversations. Of course, the girls will say, "Well, that's not how it is," and you know, but the black guys know. They know what's going on. They know that these girls are not who they pretend to be, and they are more towards pumping and dumping. And believe it or not, the Tyrone guy that's really popular around here, he's actually working on a medical degree. So yeah, he's banging all these chicks, and he even has his own little harem over there in college, which he calls it. But he's working on his medical degree, and he's working on, he doesn't do drugs or anything like that. He drinks, but he generally tries to eat right and keep himself healthy, work out, exercise, all that kind of stuff. So he's just, it's not what you think, because you think a lot of these Tyrones are just like gang thugs and stuff like that. But no, you can totally bang all these girls and smash and pass and be a regular dude trying to do your thing, get your education, get yourself out of there. Because he's getting a medical degree, which is a good reason for him to be in college anyway, because that's pretty much the main reason one goes to college, for like the field. And
Absolutely.
I knew another guy. He no longer works there, but this man, he also had his pick of the litter. Now, he had a problem fucking these girls at parties a lot and without protection. And I told him several times, I said, you need to watch your. But you know what his reason is?
Oh,
He
God.
does not listen to this. He no faps to the point that he does not masturbate, period. He says, I believe that I am not supposed to spill my seed except if it's in another woman. So he specifically does not masturbate at all. He says it's a demon. That's what he said, which I'd never heard anything like that before, but that's how he believed it. And he is also I think he's getting a sports medicine degree. He moved to Texas. So
nice.
yeah.
Has he said anything about how the women treat him there, because when they know he's in med school and all that?
Well, I haven't really heard that much from him. He really likes to keep a lot of that to himself. Like he talks about these sort of things. But generally, you can tell about him that he knows how these women are. Like he is one of those guys that's very, like I said, traditional. I think he's got a girlfriend, or I mean, whatever he's doing on the side, that's his business. It's a weird situation. He did say one thing one time that had me kind of suspect. He
Uh-oh.
said, "Well, if I do this, she's going to have me by the balls." I said,
Oh.
"Really now? Oh yeah, this is a big guy. He
Oh, yeah,
goes
so
to the
he's
gym.
self-aware.
Yeah, he goes to the gym every day. He said, I would go to the gym. If they closed it on Christmas, I would try to find a way to break into the gym and work out still, because that's just how he is. Very positive guy, though. Very positive, good, mindset about him. You do meet a lot of very positive, traditional, hard-working men who actually believe in and, doing the right thing, kind of black men around here. So it's good. You don't just see all these thugs. We have thugs, but we have good, hard-working black men, too. So that's why I can't go with all this crap that I see about all these black men and thugs and all that, because that's not true. That's
Yep.
not what I see. But oh
Well,
yeah,
there's always narratives being pushed, and I spent a lot of time in the South. I've Southern grandparents. That's where my parents obviously are from. What do you feel is the biggest similarity or difference with the North and the South in terms of like the women and the relationships between men and women?
now this is really hard for me to answer because I was young when I was in the North. I did spend 16 years there, but I only reached the age of 16. So like I really, and it was still kind of even traditional there. Like there was a rural part of my area, around where the Amish were. I mean, we were in like Amish country. So there was still a lot of very traditional values. I mean, hell, I got made fun of for playing Nintendo. They were like, "Oh, what are you doing playing Nintendo?" Girls would make fun of me for that. I've never heard anything like that before, but that's just how it was. Um, and I don't know how it's changed, but I have heard from friends that are there that it's a shit show. Basically everything that used to be really good, like our mall, and we have a racetrack down there. All that stuff was completely just when BLM came in and did their little riots. Oh yeah, they looted the whole mall. They looted the all the stores. They destroyed everything. It's crap. And when I left, it became H. Everybody got on heroin. So a lot of my good
God
friends,
damn!
they got all on heroin as soon as
How
I
do
left.
people go to these routes though? Do you ever ask yourself that question?
Oh, it's
You're
really
in
easy,
there.
Drex. It's
I mean,
really
God
easy.
damn.
You look at the State of the Union, you look at the State of the Communion, you look at being a wage slave, paying 50% taxes to the government, and you're like, why the fuck? Why the fuck do I even want to do this anymore? And you turn to drugs.
Honestly, well, there's that, but there's also no. I mean, a lot of reason is that it was promoted. It was more than likely promoted because I'll tell you what one thing was cool and shouldn't have been cool when I was smoking cigarettes. Every young man thought he had to be cool by smoking cigarettes. When they were teenagers. Oh yeah, let's
Hell of a
go. We're gonna
leap.
smoke cigarettes and do all that. What? Why are you gonna smoke cigarettes?
It's a hell of a leap to get to heroin from cigarettes, though.
Well,
I'm
yeah, I
saying.
know. No, but
No,
one thing
it's
goes to
and look, Drex, have a look at the state of America today, right? If you're a white man, or if you're a straight white man, oh, you're fucked. You're fucked. Nobody's sticking
Absolutely.
up for you, right?
Absolutely.
You're a racist, you're a misogynist, you're homophobic, you're transphobic. Drex, if you don't date trans women, you're transphobic.
Yeah.
Get canceled, get fired from your job. The job you didn't like doing anyway, but you had to do because otherwise nothing was going to get paid.
now
Absolutely.
that is one different. I will say that a lot of people in my area, even though we have uh, lesbian and gay, I haven't seen trans people yet. As far as working with me, I have
Oh, they're
seen
out
them
there.
come. Yeah, I have seen like a couple people. I've seen, like I said, one or two that were in the area, and oh my God, the comment. Is that a man or a woman? Is that yeah, I literally get shit like that. And they do not, oh man, I heard the craziest stuff about gay and lesbian people. They don't tolerate that stuff. I mean, it's not like they don't. It's basically like I don't care if you're gay or lesbian. Don't bring that shit around me. Matter of fact, there was a guy standing next to right today in the meeting because we were doing the meeting, and he said something that the manager or something like that said something about some gay shit. He said that nobody's doing no gay shit around me. I will mess somebody up about some gay shit. So I mean, that's just hey, that's how it is. It's still that kind of traditional, and of course the people in the big cities, the Little Rock, Fayetteville, stuff like that, they're gonna go up there and say, "Oh, it's so bigoted. There's bigoted people, blah blah." Oh, it's really really bad. So I mean, there's constant fights because our governor's really based. Remember, we signed the bill that stops kids from being able to transition, which they were fucking doing because I worked in an area where people would ask about transitioning hormones, drugs, and things. And they're like, oh, well, I've got somebody that's transitioning over. I'm like, what? Yeah, so it's
Before we let you out, two quick questions. Question one: I've been to Arkansas so often. Like I said, what do you see the older women saying to the younger women? Because you're saying there are X amount who are still traditional. Are you seeing that the older, more conservative, more traditional women are saying anything to encourage the younger women to try to keep them away from the thought path?
Well, I'll tell you what's going on because there was a teen pregnancy boom. A lot of these women are uh,
Boo.
kind of progressive now. However, grandma and maybe women maybe some in their 30s and 40s. I have, because, oh my God, they're single mothers. A lot of the single mothers are in their 30s. So the thing is, yeah, they're having the white babies that all these white nats are complaining about, but they're all raised by single mothers. So what the fuck kind of kids are you gonna have? It's like, but
Agreed.
oh yeah, they're all being raised by single mothers.
Yeah, you know the statistics. It's getting worse and worse by the day.
I can't believe it. I'm just like, wow, why are there so many single mothers in there? And every time you go, because I'm just looking at people you may know on Facebook. I look at a random woman's picture, I click on it. She's got like 3 kids, and it'd be a sexy picture on the thing. Like she'll be
Always,
showing some of her boobs or something. It's 3 kids, 4 kids, and she'll have the birth date of every single kid
man.
on her profile page. And like, I love my blah 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 kid. I'm like, oh my God, give me a fucking break.
Well,
It's
we'll let you out of here with this. You are
Mhm.
in the rural deep south. What is the number? Give us a percentage of the marriageable women.
Oh, well, again, this is gonna go back to what Sixth Floor Madness said. If you do this young and you have a traditional value mindset, you can nab a traditional girl because still a few out there. There's still a few families that raise those girls like that. You may have a chance. I want to say, uh, I mean, 20, 25, 26. I mean, it's maybe a quarter, but that's going to dwindle. That's going to keep going down. It's definitely happening. I always tell myself it hasn't happened yet, but I need to prepare myself because it will eventually happen. Maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years. We're always a bit behind, but it will catch up.
Always.
So I've been preparing.
Well, man, much appreciated, Grimlore. Yeah, we like the input from the southeast, or more like south central, kind of really of America.
The South's flyover country.
Yeah. But yeah, we appreciate it because it's important that guys know that a lot of these women who claim to be conservative and they come from so-called conservative states, red states, the single motherhood is still an issue. The drug usage is an issue, which compounds the problem, right? So yeah, we definitely appreciate your input, and yeah, take care and keep us updated and posted on what's going on in good old Arkansas.
Yeah.
Arkansas.
One last thing. I'm a doll owner, and I want to give shouts out to Phil from the Dollhouse.
Nice. Yeah, he's
Oh.
a resident here. Always welcome.
The unofficial co-host.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he is.
I'm telling you, if anything
great.
ever happens to me, Phil, just give Phil all the tech stuff. He'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So,
anyways, Gribbs, thank you for coming on. Have a good night.
All right.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Big Bat, what is up?
The
Can I just
Drexel
confirm
himself?
Can I just confirm I'm not coming in too hot with the mic?
Oh, you're good.
You're good. Your level's good.
It's super early in the morning, so forgive me if I sound a bit haggard. Well, gentlemen, I hear there's a State of the Union going on here.
No, the State of the Cummunion.
Oh, the Cummunion. I was about to say, because I was just double checking the Commonwealth, and I see that you guys are still on my radar, so I guess we're still a part of it, really. So, how can I help you guys today with your State of the Cummunion address?
Yeah, we want to know what are the women like in the UK? Guys want to know UK, your area. You're talking Scotland, Ireland, all of the United Kingdom, England. We get British Empire. So guys want to know what the hell is going on, right?
Well, they think they have unlocked the. They think they have unlocked the manosphere over here. The women do.
Oh, really?
they do think they have unlocked the manosphere. So there are lots of there's lots of like UK blogs going around, you know, trying to say the misogyny is at an all-time high, but they do have crazy claims about what they say in terms of any groups. So they're taking, for example, MRAs, incels, MGTOWs, and your pickup artists, for example, and they're essentially trying to rally against them. It's not as strong as they want it to be, for example, but they're putting it out there, so now women are talking about it. And funny enough, in my professional life, it turns out now that Kevin Samuels is starting to be discussed in my professional life. Now, by the guys, of course.
Yep.
But these people were previously very blue pill, and now they're starting to starting to post like videos of Kevin Samuels and stuff like that. But that's not really a guarantee that they've turned around. For example, I think what they're reacting to is a lot of information, because the first wave of any influence is just a reaction more than anything else. Look at this guy.
Yep.
Look at this guy telling them how it is, but are they really going to do anything about it? Are they really going to change themselves? Probably not. Are they going to start talking to women like this? Probably not. It's just entertainment. Like Chris Rock, even Eddie Murphy. They just bring new eyes. They just bring new eyes to old problems like the comedy, and suddenly they care. Mm-hmm. But for how long they care and whether they can apply it, that's the real test. Like many people here, even though you might have. From people, they all get the red pill at different levels. For example, different ages. Some people hear Tom Leykis, for example. Some people only get on board when they hear different content creators of different variants of the red pill, like say Donovan Sharp or something like that. So they all enter at different areas, but they all end up in the same place with a better understanding of relationship dynamics. I don't think there's any women left over here.
Damn, I was going to ask you that question. That's always my last question that I get let everybody get out with is, what is the percentage of women that you believe are marriage material? So you are in the UK. Imagine being a young man who wants to get married, start a family. How many UK women are marriage material?
See, the problem is like it's there's far more dope than there is hope when it comes to UK women. Like, it's not that there's anything bad. It's just that any change out the West will influence us over here. So the way women work is they change their mind every couple of years. So there's never a mindset that's able to be kept for them to be entertained long term, unless the guy himself is constantly evolving, constantly changing, always on an upward trajectory. But that cannot be guaranteed. Like you can always guarantee you're going to get a lot of company on the way up. But where's your company on the way down? And
absolutely.
When them peaks and troughs of any form of Batman diagram, when you look at your cryptocurrency, what's it called? When you're looking at your crypto, for example, and you see that shit rise and fall, for example, like know that when it falls, everyone's gone. A classic example is there's a guy throwing craps, right? Now, I don't know the rules of craps because I don't throw dice for a living unless it's Warhammer, right? So when it comes down to it, a guy's throwing, and he's just throwing sevens, right? And everyone's turned up. There's a huge crowd of people, and wouldn't you know it, there's a couple of floozies that have turned up and just attached themselves like arm balloons in a swimming pool. And whilst he's winning, they're all there. But the second he rolls snake eyes, everyone disappears, especially when it was a big bet. And that's how I feel relationships are. It's like when you're winning, it's fantastic, it's brilliant, you're on there, it's like Scarface, there's mountains of cocaine, there's fucking tigers and all the shit. And then the second all the cards fall down, for example, you look to your left and your right and everyone's gone. And then that will be the wake-up call for most people. I believe there's no one's, I can't imagine any chick that will ever be with any guy through an L. Like the first initial thought of an L makes a woman disappear now.
Yeah, it's gotten definitely scary with that regard. And when it comes to the women, what about the relationships in terms of the workplace? Because I know you guys are really, Phil has talked about the lockdowns. How has the workplace changed? Do you think that working remotely has helped? Because I'm assuming the Me Too stuff has gone down, right? Like, I mean, you can't really accuse somebody because they were accusing guys of everything in the UK.
Okay, look, I'm going to tell you something. Inner fires are getting clapped as we speak, right? The reason being is this. essentially, there's been a few changes. So they've also eased a bunch of lockdown restrictions as of yesterday, right? So what happened yesterday was the pubs opened fully. So this isn't. So they had like a restriction which was really bad, and it was this restriction that they had recently was we'll open up the pubs but just the beer gardens. So basically, you can sit out in the rain and have a pint, but no one's really going to do that. So they've opened up the inside of the pubs, which basically means it's back on. Now, whereas before, if I wanted to go out and I wanted to have a drink, for example, I'd go out and I'd get accosted by some chick in an open air garden, for example, who hasn't been bought a drink in a year. Now people are able to drink indoors, they're able to have lock-ins, and this means it's definitely happened. It is mating time right now. But as far as work is concerned, work husbands are everywhere. So
absolutely.
Now, over lockdown, over remote working, there's work husbands everywhere. Everyone's relationship has changed. Do you remember years ago when someone used to announce on social media that they were single by just changing their status and it would come up with an update? The females have found a new strategy to let everyone know that they're single. So there's a chick that's been in a relationship, right? Yep. And most women, when they're in relationships, if they know what's good for them, they tend to shut up, right? They don't post anything. They're not changing their status every couple of weeks. They tend to keep themselves to themselves because women don't want to be noticed when they're in a relationship unless there's any form of drama they can extract from it. When it's happy, they shut up, right? That's how it works. But the moment it all changes, they know now that they can't post that they're single because guys have started to wise up to the way women work. So this is what they do. They just randomly upload a new picture of themselves, like a new up-to-date photo. They'll always make sure they've made one major change since the last time you've seen them. They'll change hair color or something that grabs attention. And then afterwards, when you go and check the profile, that's when you realize they're single. And that's how they announce it now. It's uniform. I don't know who gives these women the telegram, but that's essentially how it works. And this new method is strange.
Hard drive, right?
Yeah, they all work the exact same way. Like they all read the same. I don't know what it is, whether it's a magazine, because women it does work like an old wives' tale. It's like something that's secretly communicated. Everybody knows, but it's not that they openly talk about because women don't cite sources. They're not very good at citing sources. So they're very good at telling you that someone told me, but they're never good at telling you where this information come from, how it's there. This is why when you look through most articles that slander men, for example, there's lots of accusations, but there's never any proof. There's never any, here's where I got my information from, here are my facts. There are never facts because women are normally believed on face value as opposed to factual value.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah. I know, and their feelings don't care about your facts either, so it's a bit scary.
Oh yeah, it's the perfect disconnect. Mm-hmm. All right, well, Mr. Figbat, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in, Figbat.
No
worries, man. I've only just woke up in the morning, so my hard-on only lasts for so long in the morning. So I'm just like, okay, then I'm just here. I thought I'd just quickly jump in and get involved, but I was able to catch the tail end of some of the other talking points, and they're very good talking points, I must say. So. Thank you very much for dropping by for the other guys as well. I heard a bit of Cooper, heard a bit of Sixth Floor, and heard Grimlord as well. So, oh god, there's a few voices I get to hear, but I don't always get to hear normally. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, don't overdose on your Koopa intake. It's really easy to do so.
Hey, we're at goblin level now, but it's not an amputee level yet.
Oh yeah, we just got to be cutting off limbs at this point. All right, Figbat. See you later, man.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
So that's it for this week, everyone. On episode 25, part 1, State of the Cummunion. Tune in next week, where we'll bring you part 2 of State of the Cummunion. Just a quick programming note for everyone. Mark off May 29th in your calendars. 3 p.m. Central Time, we will be doing our 5,000 subscriber call-in special. Quick details on that. So people in the Discord, which you can get into for $5 and up on the Patreon and Subscribe Star, they'll get a go around. And then I'll be hopping into a Google chat. So anyone with a Google account can hop in. We'll Google chat and pipe you into the live show. Once that is all done, I have set up a voicemail phone number. So if anyone who can't make the live taping of the show and still wants to call in, give us our congratulations or ask a question, I will have the phone number. Probably I'll post it next week. And you guys can call in, leave your messages. Until next week, everyone, stay frosty.